if your product doesn't work, it doesn't matter where you registered.
Welcome to our show this week where Gaurav and I are doing something different. For the first time ever, we're recording this together. We're sitting outside here on a roadside cafe in Dubai. So hopefully you won't have too much street noise. Thank you so much, JD, for joining us from a much more sensible and professional location. Looks like you're in your home office, also in Dubai. JD, we wanted to kick off the conversation by really getting the audience to get to know you a bit better. You have without oversharing, a really interesting personal history and journey to becoming a blockchain founder. Tell us about the young JD. JD as a kid. What were you like growing up? What were you doing? Where were you living?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me, Ronit and Gaurav. I think I have been in this podcast before. We had this conversation, like other conversations before. Um, and surprisingly, like we are in the same. I never thought I would be in Dubai, sharing my story, to people around the globe. Like it's very, like if I think this way, like it feels very surreal, very different for me. I never thought about that before. um so I grew up in very small area called Naroda and Nicola. You might have heard the name Naroda before. It's very controversial name. It's in outskirts of little bit Ahmedabad. I born there, like, and grew up there. I used to go to a school called Sriji. It's called Sriji High School. It's very, like, very small building in the same area, and I used to walk up every day, kind of walk up to that. Um, and there was no interviews at the time, right? Like, so currently, like, I'm trying to place my daughter into schools here nearby, and they are basically saying, okay, it's full, it's a wait list, you need to kind of pay upfront and few amount, and they will check and they will interview your daughter, and then they will see if you can get her admission or not. Like at the time, like there was nothing like that. Like I just, my parent decided to just, okay, like, just go this school because they're nearby, just go there and then study, right? So that's how it, I think nowadays, like this the same area also changed. Like people are also, parents are also getting interviewed for the kids high school admissions. But now, like, back in the time, like there was not the case. Like it just basically just goes to school if it's nearby, that's it. So the whole like from from the whole high school and school, basically it was similar, nothing different. Like I was obviously, like I was very like I always used to get first in my grades and everything. But it's a school, like, everyone gets some kind of a grades in the school, so it was not a big deal. But I wanted to become a doctor, like, because every parents wanted to become their children, or
Yeah,
the
yeah,
child
yeah.
become
You
doctor or
were like,
engineer, right? Like,
you were channeling that I want to be
yeah,
a
yeah,
doctor,
yeah.
a
Yeah,
dream,
yeah, yeah, exactly, right. And
kind
the
of
thing
middle
was
class
that,
thing.
yeah, yeah. And what happened is that my brother, so my father's sister's son, he was also big surgeon at the time. Um, and like he was like very good surgeon in Surat or anything. So I also think, okay, I also want to become a doctor, etc. But after school, like we realized that, okay, you need a lot of money to become a doctor, right? You need to, like, the schools are very expensive. It takes a lot of years, many years to become a doctor, or like that. So I said, let's go to, take the mathematics instead of biology, and then become the engineer. So that's how it's just basically randomly I started studying
So
mathematics. And
what age were you when you first said, maybe I'll be a doctor because that's a
Yeah,
sensible
yeah. So it's
professional
like
thing to do?
it's
And
like
what age
only
were you when you changed to becoming an, let's
yeah.
go
So
down the
it's
math
basically
engineering route.
in school, like less than like when I was in standard like 6, 7, or 8, like I wanted to become a doctor, but after 10, I realized okay, no, it's too much expensive and everything. So I had two options like biology or mathematics, and I took just mathematics because it's easy, and then cheaper
It's,
than
it's,
bio.
it's,
Yeah.
it's cheaper and easy, you said.
I mean, not easy, I would say, but definitely cheaper way to.
Cheaper, yeah. I think you said easy. First time I've heard
Not
someone say I
easy,
did
but yeah, easy for
mathematics.
my father, like
Easy for
easy
your
for my
father.
father, not for
Easy for the
me.
bank balance sheets. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, right? So
Yeah. So if you had been a little bit richer, you'd have been a biology major or a doctor.
maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, yeah. So everything is connected, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't see it, but whatever happened for a reason, right? So,
Yeah.
um, and then obviously, like my father never had a lot of money, so we borrowed money from people. My mother also kind of sold some jewelry because she got jewelry in the Dahej, like in India, like it's very common at the time. So she had that. We sold some jewelry, etc., to become like for admissions in the school or in the college, and I became a IT engineer, not even a computer science engineer major, but it's just basically IT engineer. So because like there was like okay, I wanted to
Yeah.
go in good college. Whatever the degree is fine, but good college is
Yeah.
better. You get the
Sure.
placement and you get the good
Sure.
companies there. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was the reason. So yeah, so I did my graduation from DDIT, Nadiad. It's a small town near Ahmedabad. Again, it's like 40 kilometers away. Um, and by the way, like I used to live in a hostel, not a college hostel. It was expensive. It was a hostel called Swaminarayan temple. It's Akshardham and everything. So they had a Chhatralay hostel near the college, and it was a lot of cheap, like a lot cheaper, right? So I used to
How
live
much
there.
cheaper?
I don't remember now, but it was very, very like 500, 200 per month or something. I need to check like what I paid, but it was cheaper, definitely cheaper, right?
It's a
Uh,
lot cheaper than staying in the student hostel. And
yeah.
your parents had already borrowed money and sold jewelry for all of just to get into
The college
college.
fees. College fees was 44,000 per year, right? It is a lot of money for us, right? My father used to earn like 6,000. So it's like paying 44,000 per year. It's like just for the study is like crazy. And you need to
Yeah.
stay there, live there, etc. And the other expenses for books
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not cheap, right?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and I have a two sisters, right? So the marriages of the etc, like what kind of costed a lot at the
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
to my father.
Sure.
So yeah,
Which year are we talking about now, JD? Which
2007 to 11.
so you got it says 2007 you're going to college and that's okay.
Yeah,
Right,
2007
right,
to
right.
11. Yeah, so
Yeah. So you're
I'm
like, okay,
32. I'm young. I'm 32 years old. So
everyone's young to us these days. I don't
yeah,
know. It's like really strange. I've spent the whole day in meetings and everyone's looking very young.
yeah, nice. Yeah,
But
crypto is young. I think crypto is everyone like I'm maybe older in crypto, like all of
yeah,
us.
you're a granddad now.
Yeah.
So you say you go like, okay, biology, I don't want to be a doctor, it's too expensive. Maths, then engineering. You do an IT degree, not a comp sci, because that's what you could get into. And so you're going through college, and what are you thinking in college? Like what you want to do?
Oh, yeah.
When you
That's
go to
interesting.
college?
Okay, it's interesting. So in college, I wanted to become filmmaker.
You wanted
Okay,
to become a filmmaker. Oh, like what? Like a director or a
director. Yeah,
producer?
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So I
Director.
already, yeah. So I also
What kind
directed
of
few.
movies? What did you want to direct?
I was gonna ask. Yeah,
Like
Okay.
who were the big like
heroes.
was it Bollywood at the time or something else? What were
Yeah,
you
no,
into?
not Bollywood at all. So I used to
So like
watch a
Gujarati
lot of
movies or what?
Hollywood movies. So my father
Oh, you
used to also watch Hollywood movies. He
yeah,
used to
yeah.
watch James Bond a lot, and I also got interested due to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we also like watch Jackie Chan, Bruce
Yeah,
Lee,
yeah,
Jet
yeah, yeah,
Li,
yeah.
a lot of similar movies, right? So I thought,
Okay.
okay, movies are cool and
You call
everything.
like Indian Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan comes to Surat.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely, like so I also directed or created a kind of a movie in college, like college projects, and got some awards, like not awards, like this is a inter college thing, so I got selected there. I also thought about, okay, going to New York and studying filmmaking and everything, but yeah, it never happened, right? I mean,
What movies did
plans.
you make in college?
I just basically some awareness thing. I don't remember now, but it was
Come
like
on, you won
uh
awards for them. You have to share them with us now.
Can we find them online?
You have to share
Are they
them
on the
link.
internet somewhere?
Post it on LinkedIn. Can we share it with everyone? We have to see this now.
I don't think so. I couldn't find it because there was
It has to be on M content. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean the thing is that, like, I realized that my goal, I still a lot of I still watch a lot of movies, right? I watch anime a lot, TV series. I also post a lot about them in a Twitter. If you might go to my tweet feed, like I'm very much a movie buff right now. So by the way, I also produce an NFT documentary. It will be out in 3-4 months, I guess. It's in post production right now. So I'm also there in the documentary.
Yeah, talking about
With other
NFTs.
people. Yeah. So yeah, it's like, and I think it's good, right? I mean, it's a good start for me just to kind of see, like, how I can, if I can contribute to movie thing as well.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, definitely I would do some movie thing in the future, if given a chance. Maybe direct, not direct now, but I'm just
Sure.
producing or something like that. So let's see how it goes.
Hopefully many, many more years left in life. So lots of things you can do. So there you are in college thinking, like most college kids, I want to be in the movie business. And then somehow you end up thinking, I guess you have to make a living. So you become a software engineer,
Software
right? How did
engineer.
you get
Yeah.
into, talk
So
us
my
through that
my
journey
yeah,
of becoming
my
a
dream
software engineer?
shattered and I became a software engineer, right?
Yeah, so you weren't filming Deepika anymore, but you were hanging out with lots of other young software engineers. Maybe
Yeah.
you are, I don't know. Maybe you're gonna produce her in the next movie. Can we set the back of the love, see if she's available? So talk us about the engineering journey.
Yeah.
So you-
So after in the last semester of the college, the persistent systems from Pune came as a placement, and then I got hired there. Placed there, worked as an intern for 6 to 8 months. So what happened is that they said, okay, internship is 6 months, and after that you get be placed as a full-time employees. And what happened is that after 6 months, they said, okay, you don't have a project. If someone from other projects hire you in their team, then and then you will have a full-time employment, otherwise you don't. So they extended my internship by 2 months, and then someone, like, like in this that 6 month I worked with one person. He came to me and say, okay guys, then JD, like, let's go, I have something for you. And then he basically took me in his team, and then I became full-time employee in Persistent Systems in 2011, like end of August 2011. So it was like very good experience for me, because no one trusted me before in my journey, like in such a way that, like, that person did. Like, he's a Druvare, he's also kind of on Twitter. He's still in Persistent Systems, but he basically taught me about multiple things. For example, of open source software. We also collaborated on multiple other software, open source software at the time. And then he also introduced me to Hacker News. If you know the Hacker News, Y Combinator, is very, very popular tech feed, news feed. And then I realized, okay, there are people are creating the startups. This is how startup ecosystem works. People raise money, they build software, raise money for free without giving. You don't have to give it
What
back.
year are we now? JD, what time
Yeah,
period?
sorry. Yeah. So
2014,
after,
2015,
yeah, I'm talking about between 2011 to 14.
11 to 14, right?
So between that. Um, yeah, so I also kind of learn multiple languages, coded like JavaScript, Java, Python, many languages. I also learn about this startup culture more. After that, I also joined in 2015. I also joined 14 or 15, I don't remember now, but 14, I joined one startup called Function Space in Pune. I left that. I started my own. Uh, I wanted to start my own some company startup, but again the money problem came in, so I kind of joined housing.com in
Right.
2015,
What was the
14.
what was the first startup you joined? Tell us about that. The first startup you worked in.
Yeah, so it was a function space. I think the founder of function space is currently founder and CEO of Rupik in India. Rupik is also a very kind of big fintech in India. So his previous startup called function space, I was the first employee there. And it was basically education platform. So you just like Quora, but education for the education, right? Just for the mathematics and physics and all those things. Like you cannot post other things. It's just basically very specific to education, very specific streams. So it was like I was there for around 8 or 10 months, not more than that, and just left. And I thought, okay, let me start my own because I can now do that. Like that was that was in my mind. Okay, I can also do this thing, startup. So let me do that. But after 1 or 2 months, I felt okay, no, let me get some money and then do that because I have family to feed and everything. So again, like I joined housing.com in 2015, I guess. I need to check my LinkedIn, but yeah. Housing.com.
We'll check the LinkedIn for you. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. And in housing.com, I was a front-end engineer, and then throughout throughout the course of housing.com, I basically moved from front-end engineers to back-end engineers to data scientists. Very interesting, by the way, right? Because it's very hard people to move from front-end to here and everything. And then I also kind of got interested in product management a lot, and I applied during the housing. I applied to become product manager in Twitter or TransferWise, multiple other places, but got rejected. So, and then
This 15, 16.
yeah, 15, 16, 17 during that time, 15, 16 more, right?
So you're applying to TransferWise and Twitter, and they're saying not the right experience or skill set we need. And
Yeah, because the product manager, you need experience and everything. They were asking for experience, and I was an
Right.
engineer. I was a data scientist,
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
TransferWise rejected me at the last interview, by the way, very last.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah. So every interview I kind of cleared, and then last interview it was a VP of engineering, VP of product or something.
Yeah.
And what happened is that he asked me like, okay, why do you want to become like which product do you like? I said Twitter. Twitter is good because I get a lot of information from there, and etc. And he said, no, what do you change? How do you tackle this and that, etc. And I replied very passionately on multiple things, and he was impressed and said, okay, no, if you are so passionate about this, like why don't you apply there and come here? And I said, I think they are not taking the freshers, and they need experience in the product management. And then he rejected. And the reason I got the mail and reason was that, okay, I'm just using TransferWise as a stepping stone to become PM in Twitter. So I mean that's fine. That's fine for a reason, but I was like, okay, that's fine. If not, then I would have been in London in TransferWise office. If I got selected, then I would be in London right now.
Working as a product manager.
Yeah. So So and then after that, like, after I got rejected by them, like I just said, well, let me now, like, okay, that's fine. Like maybe I do freelancing or do some projects and everything. I started exploring 16 to 17 now. So I started exploring multiple side projects and just kind of see like what clicks and what doesn't. And then one of the side projects was to also, I was a movie buff and TV series. I like that, so I started a thing called Game of Theories, which
Called
basically
Game of
Game of
Theories.
Theories. Game of
Game of
Theories.
Theories. So
Yeah.
like Game
So
of Thrones, but
yeah,
theories.
so basically you go on the Game of Theories and then post, okay, who will die in the Game of Thrones in the next episode? What will happen to this character? What is like, predictions, basically, right? Prediction market for TV series and gaming movies. So that was a good, right? I mean, the passion get you from one point to another point. And then I wanted to integrate payment in for the betting, right?
Yeah.
I realized that, okay, what can I use? If I use Paytm or something else, I need to create the legal entities, and too much pain. Let me check. Or if also, like, if I use just Paytm, then people outside India cannot use my platform. So let me think about the global platform. And the only global platform was there, like, so it was a Bitcoin. So let me check if I can integrate Bitcoin in this betting platform. So anyone can world just bet and small Bitcoin and then get the money. But I realized that people in 2017 now, okay, like early 2017, I started reading Bitcoin, realized that, okay, oh shit, like this Bitcoin is very, very slow. All right, people are basically fighting over the Lightning Network and this and that. And then bull market came in Bitcoin. I kind of also freelancing. I started doing freelancing on Bitcoin and Ethereum, by the way, at the time, because I thought, oh, maybe I'm a developer, maybe I build something for people. I'll make money, they will make money.
Yeah.
Made a lot of money there doing freelancing, and the bull market came, so my money kind of got very
Sure.
good appreciation in value. So, but again, like, the problem was there of scaling, right? The Bitcoin was slow, Ethereum was slow. So I thought, let me start something on the scaling space. And that's how Matic
Is your
started.
Game of Theories website still going at this
No,
point?
no, I think
That's gone. You moved on from that.
yeah, I ditched that as long as I reached to Bitcoin. I said, okay, oh, this is interesting. Let me let me
Yeah,
do
make
something
money
here.
this way. None of this
Yeah.
game stuff. Dude, ditch the Game of Theories. So much of the passion. And
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm not sure if
now
I own.
JD is wealthy.
Yeah. Yeah. So
2017.
Ouch.
The coins are going up.
yeah.
So you're like, talk us about when do you first meet Sandeep and the rest of the crew, and talk us through that journey of what becomes
Definitely.
Matic and
So
Polygon and
yeah, so I also created multiple other tools on the blockchain. For example, I created the Dagger, which basically is a notification service on the blockchain. Matic also I started. I wrote a first contract in 2017 October or something. And then during the time I was in Mumbai, after the housing, I stayed in Mumbai. I was there. I left housing and I took one shared co-working space. And then Anurag was sitting just opposite to me. And I talked with
where
him
was this co-working space?
in Mumbai.
Where in Mumbai?
Yeah, it's called, oh man. So after the Airoli, what comes, Tumbad or something? I forgot the name. Shit. Let me check. Uh,
I'm digging into too many details, right?
Yeah.
yeah, it's called, it's near the Vashi area. Let me come back. I'll give you the
Yeah, we
name.
come back. Yeah. So this is 2017. You're in the co-working space,
Yes.
and then sitting opposite to you.
Yeah. So Turbe, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a co-working space called Springboard in Turbe. So I
Okay.
was there. Anurag was there. He joined me after hearing my story and what I'm building. I also was in a group with Sanket Shah, which is currently leading the BD efforts at Polygon. I asked him to join me as well as a co-founder. He said he is not interested, but Sandeep in the other group member is. And that's where I
So,
met Sandeep.
so hang on, you'd asked your friend Sanket,
Yeah,
and he said not interested because
because I think he wanted to do MBA, I guess.
oh, okay, just did
Yeah,
an MBA, right?
yeah. I think he
And then
did
he
MBA,
introduced
I
you
guess.
to his
And then,
colleague
yeah,
Sandeep.
yeah. Right.
Okay.
So, and that's how I met Sandeep, right? And then we just met and started.
So that's how the band got together.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's how
It
it.
seems like every time a door closes for you, a better one opens up, my friend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before we get into talking about Matic and Polygon in a bit more detail for the rest of this conversation, I have one last question before I hand over to my friend Gaurav here. When you began doing this journey into blockchain and building Matic, the became Polygon, what does your family think you're doing? Like, what do like, you were this kid that came out and you're a smart kid, and you could have been a doctor, but you ended up being an IT engineer. So you're a success story so far. And then you go into this blockchain thing in 20. What are they thinking? Like,
Yeah.
do they
So
even
I
understand
hope they
what
don't.
you're doing,
Yeah,
or you tell them you're just working in tech or something?
yeah. It's a software engineer, right? I'm a software engineer still, right?
Yeah.
I'm write
So for
software.
them, your family, your parents, you're still a software engineer.
I'm a software engineer. Yes.
Yeah.
So right now also, like if I go in some family functions,
Yeah.
they say, okay, yeah, my son is a software engineer, is a big post in Dubai. I don't know like why they are telling this, but they say, okay, okay. And then the other guy also says, okay, my son also in software engineer. Which language do you code in? And that's some like it's common question I get asked. But yeah.
You just say you're head of sales for Infosys for the Middle East or something.
Easier, much easier.
Let's
Yeah,
talk about the business. So they still think you're a software engineer.
I'm a software engineer. Yeah.
I'm gonna let Gaurav dig into the business in a bit more detail now. So I'm gonna hand over.
Thanks so much, Ronan. Super interesting to see, how these ways have led you to where you are now. But I think a lot of people who watch what we're doing here and talking to you and getting more about your story from you, the journey has been amazing. Congratulations. But
Thank you.
one thing that I'm very curious about is you had to build experience on building Polygon from a company perspective, right? And you're not a traditional company,
Yeah.
and you've worked for startups, right? Talk
Yes.
to us about how did you form the company? How did you agree where it would be based, who would run the company, what the job titles would be like? Because when people think about starting a company or a platform, it's, people have templates about what my API company would look like. In your case, your mass infrastructure and tools. So, and you're really creating the benchmark from scratch. There's no set way of doing it. How did you guys come about creating the structure for the company, or the geography of the location of the company and the people that go into it? Tell us about that journey. How did it start from there?
Yeah, I think to be honest, like you on the other side, you might look like we have all the figured out, like we know like what to give a title and what to do, what is the where to set up our company, etc. We didn't know anything. We made a lot of mistakes. We did stupid mistakes in our journey by setting up companies here and there, and now like we are regretting all those decisions. But that's fine. That's fine.
So
So
how
we
did
have
it start? What did you set up? What did you do? Tell us about the story.
Yeah, so few things, obviously few things I cannot tell in the public forum, but obviously we have a entity in Singapore. We had a company in BVI, token insurance company in BVI. But the whole thing, but okay, so the thing is that even if you don't know, when you're building something, you just figure it out on the way, like on the way, on the go, right? For example, we say, okay, yeah, we meet, like I will be the CEO, you will be CEO, you will be CPO. Let's start. Like, my responsibility is just to make product and make sure, like, everything scale, like, whatever we want to build, we reach there. Your job is to kind of manage the operations and do the sales or BD, or the Anurag's job was to kind of make sure, like, product works and kind of get together on the validator side and multiple other things, right? And then that's it. Like that was the, like, given, like, just 5 minutes talk on the same, and then we started, right? And then we started register company, because okay, why do we register? We met in January, but our company registration happened in, I think, August, like 8 months after that, because we never thought about it. We said, okay, let's build, and then we started. We said, okay, let's go raise money, and then when someone says yes, and they say, okay, where is your company? And then I realize, okay, oh shit, like we never had a entity before. Let us register it. But let's register in US, because US is easy to get the money, but oh, we don't have money, so let's do in India. This this is how it goes, right? And we register it, and realize, okay, oh shit, like people cannot send money in India, is because banks are shitty, and banks are asking more questions. So let's go Singapore, because it's easy. Other people have done that, so let's go Singapore. Cheaper than US, better than India, so let's do Singapore. So I went to there, filled out form, and to bank I said, okay guys, like this is not a blockchain company, it's a software engineer, it's a software company. So all those things, like, because we never had a token there, right? So it's a kind of a blockchain services software company. In BVI, obviously we had a token, so we never talk about token perspective. We just talk about, okay, first let's start the software company. Let's not talk about the tokens as of yet. It's we need to hire legal first for that, and for that we need money, and then for money we need some entity. So let's do this. We got the money from Binance and Coinbase, and then we kind of hired other people to do BVI and other token related things. So yeah, this is how it goes now. Like if I start something else, like I would know, like what is the good way to do that. Even I don't spend a lot of money from the beginning, but I know, like what can be avoided, I would avoid. And then again, like we recently did our restructuring again of the entities, like Polygon Labs, Polygon Foundation, which we also announced very, like, recently. So after, like, so many years, like we did right now, like because we never prioritized this, or maybe I would say, like, we never, obviously, like if your product doesn't work, it doesn't matter where you registered at the end, right? So first, your job as a priority is to make your product work, like make it work, have a users, and then other things will fall in the place automatically, I guess. Yeah.
I think you're in a very unique space where there's no precedent for creating the product, and there's no precedent for creating the company and the regulatory frameworks that govern it. So I think being flexible has been extremely key in serving you well, where you've been flexible to try and deliver building the product and then forming. I mean, whereas now the market is very heavy on a precedent now of structure and regulation in the space. So it's still a long way to go of discovery and setting even more precedent, but the baseline is there. So it's served you well again to be flexible in setting up your business as well. Not
I mean,
just doing your business as well. It's been pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, in any space, I think startup or Web3 startup specifically, you should be okay with the uncomfortable situations, right? You should be aware of, like, you should be fine with the unknowns, because there are so many unknowns. There is no checklist for anything. On the traditional business, you might have some suggestions from the VC, suggestions from the lawyers and other people, but here that's not the case. Like everything, like, for example, in 2017, 18, everyone was saying, okay, you cannot have your own token if there is no, no utility. Why people are creating their own tokens on the go? But now narrative is different. Like everyone should have their own token. Even UNICEF has one, even if they don't need it, right? So things have changed, narrative has changed. So the VCs also don't know, like, what to suggest or what to advise. Things change, right? So you just need on your own, like you just take the decisions you seem fit, right, and do it.
So, how is Polygon as a company look today from a structural point of view? Are you extremely set up to be a flexible organization where you have key components of your organization that are very, rigid and, clear from a regulatory standpoint of view or company formation point of view? And then you build on top of that when you need to focus on it and, just want to deliver new products and tool sets? Or are you very, very organized in the way that you deliver and build like traditional companies? How are you guys structured today?
Yeah, so as I mentioned it, that we are in middle right now, not too flexible, not too rigid. We were a lot flexible, and it didn't work for us. Like when you scale certain level, like it just blows up, right? And the thing is that, like, you need some functionals, very good functionals, for example, operations, HR, and finance and everything. Otherwise, you will work, or you will make decisions on the higher level. You will make decisions in the dark. So you need to make sure, like, you have some kind of a proper structures on multiple other functions, non-engineering functions, to make some sound decisions, right? For example, if you don't know your finances, you will make some bad decisions at the end of the day. If you don't know about your people are happy or not, you will make your bad decisions at the end of the year, right? So, and if you know, like, okay, the stats on the BD side, or the sales side, or the transactions, or TVL side, or any number side on the business development, if you don't know, then you will feel like, okay, you are doing everything right, everything is good, but it's not. So at certain level, you need to start gathering your things together, and make sure, like, and while doing that, you also need to make sure you deliver faster. You don't need to, like, otherwise what will happen is that if you start putting the processes on multiple levels, like, you might slow down, but you don't want that. You need experiments, you need things to move faster. So and at the same time, you also need some structures on some places, right? So it's very hard, like, I mean, find the right balance, and we are trying to find the right balance. But we know, okay, we want to find that balance right now. That thing, you need to put that in your mind, that, okay, you don't want to become too rigid, okay, or you don't want to become too flexible, because otherwise, what will happen is that, like, you will shoot in the dark. If too rigid, then you will basically stop progressing, stop growing, right? So I'm not sure where we are right now exactly, but I know, like, we want to become in the middle. Okay, so I'm saying, okay, we are in the middle because I'm trying to find that balance. Like, we are trying to find that balance, but we don't know if we are there yet. If not, like, we will know. Like, if it's too rigid, I know from the engineering teams, okay, JD is not working right. If it's too flexible, finance will come to me and say, guys, like, no, JD is not, this is not working right. So we will know when we have the right balance, and we want to find that. I think that acknowledgement is very important. If you don't know where you are want to be, then you will be in some extremes, for sure. Yeah, sorry if it's different, like, if there is different answer you are expecting, but this is how it works.
There's no right or wrong answer here. Just like we can't predict the future, and you're building as you go along in a fresh space. There is no precedent where, you are and we are, through asking these questions and people understanding you and your business and this technology and the infrastructure that's going with it. We are setting precedent now. There's no precedent before. So this is the most interesting and entertaining piece of it all. Yeah, and before I hand back to Ronit, I really want to ask you, if you could go back and, someone was sitting in your space as a software engineer with these ambitions or thoughts of this uncharted destiny, what advice would you give yourself back, or would you wish you had known back then.
What, like JD age 27,
Yeah.
26?
Yeah. What advice would you give yourself, you
Okay.
know, that would make
Yeah.
you get where you are faster or even better? What did you wish you know? What would you advise people to sort of do into best practices or
I
set up?
don't know that I would reach here faster. I'm not sure. Like I mean, I might have. Um, I don't know. Maybe. I wouldn't say faster, but definitely if I didn't follow the instincts I had back there, I wouldn't be here for sure, right? Or someone say, okay, if software engineer from small town or some company can run or can build this company, it would feel like a dream, right? Like people always talk about Mark Zuckerberg and multiple other people, but they were in the Silicon Valleys. They were in the Stanford, and they had like, the group they had like very intellectual, right? And we had nothing. We just kind of some dabeli eaters, vada pav eaters, people around us. That's the thing, right? There's a difference. It's a huge difference, right? And still we are here. So I would say, like, if I would have definitely I would have done like the hundred of things differently, because I know the things I'm regretting right now. So I would change those things when I start again. Maybe that will make us more efficient, more faster than right now. But I think we are on the good path. Obviously mistakes are made. That's fine. Many mistakes are made. We will fix them. We'll move ahead, grow. And yeah, I think one thing I would personally do is that learn zk zero knowledge long before, because I still don't know the zk as much as I know the softwares and everything. But yeah, I mean, I'm learning right now, so I think I don't have that regret so far.
For the audience, can you just give a 60-second unpack of that? Why is ZK important?
Oh yeah. So
The audience.
yeah, so in normal, I'm just talking about the scaling part. Okay, so
Yeah.
in blockchain scaling, the main goal is to make sure whatever the transactions are very executing are valid or not, or execution happen correctly or not. And for now, what we are so far we were doing is that we are basically passing those transactions to all the validators or all the participant in the network, and they are executing the same things over and over again and saying, okay, this is right or this is wrong transactions. But with zk, you just do one proof. You don't need to share anything else. You just take that proof and pass to anyone else, and they can say, okay, these transactions happen correctly or not. So it's a very crazy concept, you could say. Like, it can change multiple fronts, not just the scaling, but we are in the scaling business, so I'm just saying on the scaling perspective.
So from your perspective, that's the most interesting bit of software right now, from your
Yeah,
perspective.
I mean, for example, like, how much computation power we are wasting on executing same transactions over and over again. And think about, like, I'm just sending you some small proof or maybe larger proof, whatever it is size, and you just mobile, you can just verify and say, okay, yeah, JD, like, I received your tokens or money. And I also know, like, Gaurav has some X amount of tokens. I can also verify that. It's crazy thing. Yeah.
JD, can I just rewind a couple of minutes? And you said you went back and speaking to young JD, there's not really that much you'd have told him because you've done so much already in the last 6-7 years. And that point you mentioned about not coming from Stanford or Harvard, or the last generation of tech entrepreneurs, the globally significant ones, obviously a lot of them are American, went to the Stanfords, the Harvards of the world, maybe dropped out, but they got in and then they dropped out, right? So they came from
we wouldn't have gotten there, by the way.
Exactly,
Even if
right?
you drop out.
Yeah, you can't even get into dropout, right? Like now people like, even from India go to Stanford, then drop out after the first year, and then they raise their from Sequoia or whatever, right? So, but is there something in the sort of Web3 source or the blockchain or the internet space that makes it easier for people to come from, you don't have to have been to the Stanfords or the Harvards or in previous generations, there would have been like whatever, the top colleges in Tokyo, Moscow, London, the top engineering science colleges. Is there something specific or native to Web3 in the blockchain world that is just more borderless, more open, not just geographically between countries, but even within countries? Or am I just trying to make a romantic story out of your individual data point?
Yeah. So
Got to
here's my
generalize
theory.
a bit.
Yeah. So here's my theory. Okay. So people learn not from the college, but from the group, from the other participant in the same time. For example, take an example of IIT, right? So
Yeah.
even if you're IIT, you are dumb, like
Yeah.
not, I would say dumb, but I'm just saying like not
Sure.
at like no higher
You're not the
grader.
top. Yeah.
The thing is that you will do good in your life. Why? Because your
Right.
your surrounding group is very, very supportive and intellectual. So you
Yeah.
always find something interesting out of that, or maybe you join them at the end, right? For example, someone is doing startup, you might he's your friend, so he will take you as some good position, and then you make your career out of that. So the thing is that you don't learn like amazing thing from Stanford or YC, or I'm not sure, like no any other good thing. But what makes interesting is that the surrounding group,
Yeah. It's a club.
right? So for example, YC, right? So
Yeah.
if you go into YC, you talk with you are sitting with the Paul Graham or Sam Altman at the time, for example, phones 9, 7, 11, I don't know, early. And then even if your startup fails, like this guy is building Reddit, or this guy is building Airbnb. Maybe you will learn something out of that, or maybe you become say head of sales in Airbnb and get some money out of that. Like I'm just saying, or maybe Facebook, right? Even if you are not Mark Zuckerberg, maybe you're the first employee of the Facebook. You don't know.
Or even employee number 30 is enough.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
right. And then your life changes, right? You
Yeah.
now you know that okay, you can do something even if you are not that smart, right? You are not that good or not a risk taker or anything. Like you can make a big thing out of your life easily, and that gives you confidence, right? And then once you are confident, you can achieve more than you can do in your life, and that's the main thing. And in Web2 sense, like for example, if you go before 2016, 17, that was there, by the way, right? So but the thing is that people mindset was still not there. And for example, if you want to raise money, you need to be in SF, you need to be in Silicon Valley to get the fund. But what happened is that due to Web3, now everyone is basically either pseudonymous or sitting their home office like me, and still getting money, right? So internet, or I would say internet was there for the Web2 as well, but the people were not ready for that, or people were not thinking about that. But now like people started thinking about, okay, that's fine, like whenever we are founder is if in SF or New York or Mumbai or Ahmedabad or Dubai, it doesn't matter. If they are doing great, give us them money. And that basically changed overnight due to Web3. Not overnight, I would say over the few days or few weeks or few months, years of the Web3. And then that actually changed the whole game, right? So now, for example, you don't ask where you are, you just ask, okay, what you're building in Web3. Let if you're, and then you give the money. Before, okay, where you are, okay, come to Silicon Valley in our office, right? And then we will talk.
Yeah. Where do you go to college?
Yeah. Where do you go to college, right?
Yeah.
Now, like everyone is on the online, you are talking, you are building and meeting in the Discord and all those things, on Twitter, fighting over the Twitter. So all those things now on online, and COVID also helped a lot, right? So
It kind of came
yeah,
together, right? The whole Web3
came
COVID,
together.
it all happened at the same time
Yeah.
to creating this borderless online world, or the
Yeah,
network
so
state, as some people call it. Yeah.
The great leveler.
Yes. So I think so yeah, that's the thing. So I always say people, okay, before also COVID, I used to tell people that okay, people just go to IITs or Stanford not for study, but to connect.
Yeah.
Connections. Yeah, it does matter. And in Gujarati there is a huge, like I would say, saying.
Yeah.
Gujarati, I will tell in Gujarati, but I'll
Yeah.
also
Translate it after,
this
please.
Mota Moti Khan e Olkhan. So it means that the biggest mine is
Yeah.
biggest gold mine is a connection, right? So basically, yeah. So it's just say, I mean, if you know
Or
someone,
in
like you
English,
can,
you'd say your network is your net worth.
yeah.
Your network is your net worth. Yeah. We're running out of time, and I've got so many more questions. I'd love to have you for another 1 hour, because I'll try to wrap it all into 3 minutes, the next 1 hour. So we've had a really, how should I say, interesting year in crypto and Web3 and blockchain. And so many things seem to have gone wrong. And we're recording this early February 2023, and we're, at least in some countries, not all, in some big countries, we're in the full-on midst of a backlash against all things crypto, Web3, from central banks, other regulators. Give us in 2 or 3 minutes, you kind of paint the story of where we go from here in terms of how do we make it to society outside the small group of individuals, which is still quite small, who are involved actively in Web3 or blockchain. How do we, over the next few years, explain or deliver something that's valuable to the whole, like Web2 did, right? And Web2 took the internet to zillions of users. How do we do that for Web3? Like, change the narrative from speculation and pump and dump to something, hey, this is really valuable for society. This is not just, the product market fit here isn't just avoiding capital controls or scamming people or whatever the product market fit has been in some of these cases.
Yeah,
and it's a tough question. We only got 2 minutes. So.
Yeah, no worries. I try to wrap it up in 2 minutes. So the thing is that Web 2 or Web 1, right? All this big waves had a moment. For example, iPhone changed the Web 2 moment, right? Because now, like, you can basically build something which reached every individual phones through the phones, right? It was not never with the MacBook or the PC, right? It was never with that. So I think we need to, crypto needs that a moment, right? For example, AI just had a moment. It feels like it's kind of a moment with AI. I'm not sure if it is or not. But we never thought, okay, it will replace the search.
You're having another AI moment. I dug up my old presentation decks. In 2017-18, I used to give all these AI presentations because of the crypto winter. So I'm reusing them now, but with some ChatGPT slides in the front.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
don't worry, we're going to put AI on the blockchain.
I don't know. Oh, no.
Yeah. No. I mean, AI has so blockchain has AI in that, right? No, chain, CHAN.
Blockchain.
Oh my God. Gaurav just left the chat, by the way, whether it's ChatGPT or not.
So what's the iPhone moment going to be for Web?
I'm not sure, right? So
the iPhone moment, right?
I still have this issue with the crypto is that we created our own bubble, right? What we did is we created some platforms, L1, L2s and everything. We created DeFi, we created a token on top of that, and then we created more token on top of that, and we created the exchanges which just kind of use those tokens to exchange those tokens, etc. And that's it. Like, I mean, we are basically just doing this token to token thing, and then we are at yield on top of it. Now we
are took some of the worst bits of Wall Street and tokenized it.
Token, yeah. So I think we need to figure out a way to get past that. I'm not sure what, right? I'm hoping that would come, and we will be ready for that.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's it, right? I mean, that's what we are hoping.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. So let's see. So sorry about, that's my answer. I don't know.
It's a brilliant open-ended answer to the podcast. So we need to like send out the bat signal and ask for.
We'll see him in 6 months again.
We could.
We can ask AI to answer this.
Yeah. Let's get. Can we fire up ChatGPT or Bard or whatever? Let's ask Bard. What's the iPhone? We should put that into ChatGPT. What's the iPhone moment of crypto going to be, or Web3?
Let's try it out.
Let's try it out. Let's see what ChatGPT says. What's the iPhone moment going to be? Yeah. But anyway, in the meanwhile, JD, thank you so much for joining us again. It's been a real pleasure to host you. Hopefully the sound was okay. Said Gaurav and I are sitting here outside the the Museum of the Future in the background.
Weather is nice for now, so you can enjoy it. You might
another couple of months, another couple of months. We're good for until April, right? And then we have to go back into air conditioning. Yeah, it's been a real pleasure to host you today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, thank you all. Yeah.
See you around.
See you. Bye-bye.